thank you for all the comments we got on our season 2 episode 7 review. Feeding. Oh my gosh, so many freaking comments. We're going to do our best to get through it. If we can't get through them all here, we're going to do another video too. So keep an eye out because we're probably going to do 2 because there's so many. And yes, we have heard you. The planet will probably get destroyed. So the core / the voice will get out. And by the way, spoilers, just in case, I just want to make sure you know this is heavy spoiler territory. I don't think we can even talk about this show without talking about spoilers because it's so spoiler-y. And then, yeah, let's go.
Everyone, welcome back to AsArt with Nick and John. So plenty of comments. Could you say a plethora of comments? Yes, a plethora of comments. It's going to be a 2-part installment probably. So we're going to go on and jump in here and start off with John Kohlrush, I think is how you pronounce that. So Guys, Sue didn't hear the voice Soul in the tropical zone. I went back and realized the Atheist ship is outside the tropical zone. The archive where the seeds were was not in the tropical zone. The tarantula couldn't make to landing in the tropical zone. It's right outside, so that's why Sue could hear it. So I didn't remember that. So is that
I'm pretty sure, like with the establishing shots too. I remember, I think episode 1 where I was talking about the tank, and the tank leaves like the tropical zone, and it kind of goes over like a man shift like bridge almost, or like a land bridge, and it's like on the outskirts kind of. It's like right on the outskirts, which makes sense, but like it was, I don't know. I just thought something had to happen because no one else was hearing the voice. I guess you would think Paul or something, but they were able to read the signal from there too. So I guess it would make sense that she was able to track. Remember how she like approached Mother and she was like, the signal was a track. So maybe because that was one of my things, like, ooh, maybe grandmother's bad because when she got put back together, the voice came back, which, also it could have been a writing mistake. It could have not. I don't want to say that they make mistakes, but like it could have been something that was just overlooked and stuff like that because it happens. It happens. You can oversee something or mess up on something, but you can somehow write it in. But I thought that was a really good observation and point that pointed out. And yes, I believe you guys were totally correct on that because it was outside the tropical zone.
And of course, it completely makes sense that at some point, even if they're mainly inside the tropical zone, there would be reasons why they would go outside the tropical zone at some time or another, and then they would be hit with the voices. And I don't remember. I mean, I remember it was at the beginning of the season. I forgot who the conversation was between. It was Mother and someone else saying, yeah, it doesn't seem like the voice hits the tropical zone. I don't remember who that conversation was between, but it wasn't like it was a hugely announced conversation. That was just between like 2 people, right? I might be wrong on that, but
I think it was something like Sue was asking Mother, and she's like, the only way I was able to interact with it was when I plugged into the system, or something like that.
That's right. It was Mother and Sue. That's right. So I don't know if that's a common thing that people are talking about. It's like, I don't hear the voice, because the voice is still amongst like a small inner circle of people that know that this funk is going on.
And now we have a giant Wi-Fi router.
Nick is Wi-Fi routers, extenders.
Oh no, actually it's gone now. Never mind.
Great.
Spectrum came back to take it away.
Hope you had a warranty on that extender tree. All right, you'll get a replacement because there's another pod out there. We're going to get to that. All right, so let's see. Next comment, we have Krenra. All right, I think the serpent's purpose is to get large enough to plug itself into the planet's core where the holes are using the tree root tentacles so Soul can escape. So, you know what? This is definitely something that I think as we're seeing the serpent become more and more important to the story. I mean, it's not just a random serpent from the beginning. It's always had an interesting story, but just that huge serpent was in that big like pit that, Marcus went down, that tunnel. It's like, all right, well, the serpent, unless it was killed like doing something down there, like there's definitely a reason why it was down there. Is it to go down to the core? So it definitely makes sense that there's something to do down there. Do you have any theories on that, Nick?
And it has to do with like Soul can escape, and this kind of goes along with all the other comments we had with like the planet needs to be destroyed in order for Soul, the voice, the core to be free, and like the planet is like keeping him at bay, or her, or it. And I think there's even a comment too, which we might even go over too, where it's like a collection of minds, of humans' minds, which created this AI device. Like there's a lot of great, crazy theories out there. I love them. Keep them coming, because it's just like, oh my gosh. And with this show, there is no limits, I feel like, with this show, and I feel like it can go any direction, and it can go opposite of everything we're thinking too at the same time. But I really like this, like the idea of the core trying to, it's like that song from Queen.
I want to break free.
But it's really fun. I remember someone saying like, yeah, it's like the lightning that the serpent has is almost like going to jumpstart. I mean, there's not all these are in the comments, but Nick and I have been going through and reading a lot of the comments. There's some really fun things. And honestly, like Nick and I, we talk all the time, like, boy, the comments we get are way more fun than the crazy theories we have. And there's the possibility, the real life possibility that with all the viewers watching this show, the showrunners are like, great, they thought of something better than we did. They thought of something better. You know, it's like
Game of Thrones was the perfect example, right?
Yeah, there's definitely that possibility. But that's the fun of this show is like there's such a fun factor of what is this about? And, you know, I was watching another movie the other night. I'm not going to get into like, you know, what it was, but it left that door open for a lot of interpretation and conversation on what's going on. It's like, you know, those are good movies where they on purpose do that type of thing. And this show definitely does that a lot. All right, you want me to continue on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brennan Barnes. Hey, guys, thanks for the video. Thank you for watching it. I'll have more to say tomorrow, but real quick, the actress that plays grandmother gave an interview back in February, the day before the premiere, with the creator of the show and the actress that played Decima, and she gave a bit of info. She confirmed that the veil is an emotion inhibitor and that she has never felt emotions before, which jives with her confession at seeing Father without one. And that when the veil is removed, she will find herself experiencing emotions for the first time and implied that drama will ensue. Cool. So again, this is one of these shows, which is kind of rarity, that there's a lot more to be told, but they're kind of rewarding viewers that watch the behind the scenes stuff and listen to the podcast with extra things. Whereas usually it's just, you watch the show and you get that information. So that's very interesting. They're doing it this way. Because usually like they're told to be very tight-lipped on story details, especially before it actually hits. So that's really interesting.
Which is cool though, because like mother and father have gone a while without their veils. That, you know, since we've seen them, right? So like their humanity's really.
Did they have veils?
No, they didn't. But I'm saying, but maybe they like did on visors. Earth, or you know, like I'm just saying, like if they originally had, you know, veils and now they're gone. They've been so long without it, where like, and we start to see more humanity in them, right? Yeah, and so and more emotions and stuff like that. So maybe the longer they go without it, the stronger those emotions get. So even by mother wearing it, maybe it's going to push back a lot of the emotions that she had and developed, where she's like going to have to start over again and regain all these emotions that she had. Because she was even feeling love at one point when she was in the simulation. And, you know, and like and now with the children and all this other stuff and father, we've really seen him. Well, they're both. So this might be a thing with grandmother too, but maybe she becomes the big bad or she's the big good. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But maybe over time, when her emotions develop or her humanity kicks in too, she starts to change and develop more too, where it's not like logical decisions. It's more emotional based. So.
And that's fun to, I mean, that goes back to, you know, the whole psychology and developmental psychology. It's like, you know, it's part of nature. It's part of nurture. Like, how's the environment going to shape, you know, what path you take, and how much of it is just your nature built in. And, you know, and from a programming standpoint too, that completely makes sense. So you can start with similar based programming, but how is that going to turn out based on the stimuli that you're faced with? And so that's going to be really fun to see. Is she going to go in a completely different direction than mother and father? Granted, she's probably coded in some different way for a different purpose, but and that's going to be obviously the really interesting thing, is we find out what her actual purpose was. I mean, she said she's there to ensure the survival of the human race, but we don't know how she's kind of interpreted that over time. And
survival lot of the comments, be fed to the serpents.
Yes. Well, a lot of the comments we've had is like, what's, you know, people commenting, what's the interpretation of that for her? And that could be taken a lot of different ways, you know? Yeah. All right, you want to continue on?
Yes, sir. Keep it going.
All right, Mr. XYZ. And he's pointing out a specific spot at 3101.
Yeah, I think that's when I was like, what's going to happen with the planet? Remember, I was like freaking out.
And I think the planet is the prison for the entity / voice / soul that is trapped in it and wants to get loose. And you know what? This is one that, as I was reading comments and as I was kind of just thinking about the episode, the more that seems to make sense. Because, I mean, what's the goal of this voice if it's not trapped there, why would it just be continually like just not tormenting everybody, but it's always just hanging around instead of just directly getting involved? Why am I just like, I'm going to pull the strings from afar, unless that was the only way it could affect people? And that's kind of a fun, I mean, again, you could say like, in Western religion, why is God, if he's, completely powerful, still off in the distance, just seeing, what the experiment's going to be. But at the same time, like, that would make sense that it's trapped somehow or another, or we get into other theories that I'm not going to get into yet because I think we have some comments on it, is why this entity might be trapped, or entities based on, what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on that? Yeah.
No, I think we already covered it too with him trying to escape and all that, and there was a lot of those, so I just wanted to make sure we covered it, and if it pops up again, we'll talk about it again, because I feel like that is for sure one of the main talking points going into the last season. Or no, the last episode of the season. Gosh, last season.
Don't cut us off 3 seasons short, you jerk. All right, see, so Gemini Writer. Yeah, Grandmother is holding back new material for season 3. Yeah, that's for sure going to be the case. I mean, I'm hoping we're going to get a good chunk of, Grandmother. It looks
so.
like,
I hope we get something.
I mean, it's not, by the end of this last episode, we're already being told that the veil switch is going to happen. So I'm assuming we're going to get a pretty decent amount of Grandmother unveiled, but at the same time, they're going to have to do quite a bit with this last episode. So who knows how much we're actually going to get of her, but hopefully it'll be a good amount. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of material for season 3. I'm mainly curious if this is going to be the end of the serpent, or the serpent is going to continue on in season 3 as well.
Well, yeah, because we did see eggs in the tree when Campion met the serpent for the first time. Remember how there was like eggs in the tree, and we didn't know if they were like his eggs or other eggs.
I think it's just bird.
And then
we know I might be wrong.
We know there's another seed pod, and we saw what happened with the last one with eating of the tree of the seed pod. I don't know, but like, what if he was doing what he thought was right to stop the voice or the core from using the tree to do whatever? Maybe he was like, no more humans are going to eat these fruits.
Nick, I'm not selfish. I'm going to let you open the next pod. You can have the seed, okay? It's all yours. I'm not selfish. You can have it, okay? There you go.
Awesome.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. Ryan D. Technocrats are the religious and the believers are the scientists. Yeah, so the technocrats, the term kind of threw me off, but we had a few people commented that, yeah, we heard the term technocrats like all the way in season 1, and I didn't remember that, but I'm going to believe that because there's a lot from season 1 I don't remember.
So they're basically saying that the technocrats are the Mithraic. And that's why maybe when she saw the card, so the believers could be the people covered in the snakeskin that look all beat up. And yeah, that's what it's just so confusing, because we know Mithraic are the believers, but when you hear the technocrats, you think of them as. But yeah, it's this whole show is like I'm going around in circles. Like, what happened? Wait, who said what? This is going on. Sorry, guys, I'm like losing it at times trying to wrap my head around everything.
All right, so let's see. So Noldorov Amo y Senor, I might be saying that wrong, apologize if I am. If you look at the weaponized snake from the front, it resembles Soul's symbol. So Soul made the snake in its image. Maybe Soul is some kind of snake ancestor that fused with the planet's core. And then there's some more, but it's not expanded in the screenshot we took. But I thought it was just interesting. Like, you think of the tentacles coming off of the snake,
like
and it
the
does
sun
almost
rays.
look like the Soul. Yeah. The sun, or like, it does look like that. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of an interesting angle on the symbol. So yeah. So
even if that's from Soul, though, we don't. We don't know if the voice that impregnated Mother is part of Soul, because remember there could be different voices on the planet too.
That is one thing that does get tricky as you go down multiple seasons of a science fiction show like this. Sometimes it gets very complex and hard to follow. And I'm not saying this is right now, but it may get that. And especially if we have 2 years in between each season, it might get really hard to follow without going back. I'm already forgetting stuff.
But
from season
you know what's so
1,
funny now that I just remembered this? Didn't Marcus even say the serpent was the sword? And it's funny because like the sword could be a weapon.
Well, I thought Paul was saying at first. Paul was saying maybe the serpent's the sword or something. I thought it was Paul at first that mentioned that.
So I just remember him in the tank when he pulled it up with Decima and he saw the serpent, he's like, maybe that's the sword or something. He said something like that because at first he thought it was the little knife he had, but the sword could just also just be.
You mean the letter opener that he had? Yeah, this is the sword. The letter. You know what's funny though? That was shown to be a significant thing a number of times. We never saw that again after she fell.
I don't know.
So
maybe
is that
maybe
present itself again?
Maybe she had it this whole time after she fell, and then maybe when Campion's burying, because we saw that in the trailer, he's like
radioactive girl. Oh, was he? That's right, he was burying her.
And
So,
she also took off her mask, which was weird.
Yes.
She's like, why did you remove the mask?
Why would you take Hannibal's mask off, sir? That's not polite.
You would need a cutting device to remove the mask. So maybe that's where the device comes back in. I don't know. I may be crazy.
I think Nick's calling this now because they spent enough time on that thing to where you would think it's going to reappear, and it hasn't appeared. Nick and I thought that was going to be found next to her body, if she wasn't going to reappear alive. And it's never been mentioned since then. So I think Nick called it. Maybe we're going to find
hold on. I'm just kidding. But it's very interesting, though. I wanted to go back to that thought where the snake could be the sword because he's weaponized now. The sword is a weapon. So I just think that could be part of it. Because we had the tree, we have the sword. Now we're looking for the prophet. We don't know who the prophet is yet.
Is he like the Sword of Omens, like Thundercat?
Oh yeah, Thundercat. Or He-Man.
Yeah, He-Man. All right, so we'll do one more. Blazing Ocean, good name. Blazing Ocean. In episode 3 of the second season, the insides of the pumpkins that number 7 was eating on the mountaintop looked like a type of blood fruit similar to the brain fruit of the Tree of Knowledge. So I picked this one out because I thought for a while I was going crazy. Other people were saying, you guys are way off. It was just pumpkins. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I was like, it did look like bloody monkey brains, just larger monkey brains. So at least I'm not completely crazy.
So you think that was a different tree with the fruit or something like that?
Well, we've already established that there's more than one seed pod. We don't know where this new seed pod came from, but it's like, and the snake was clearly led to that when he was up on the top of a tree. It seemed like in kind of an isolated location. Like, oh, was that a special tree of some sort as well? Like
that he already ate or something too.
It obviously didn't cause the snake to weaponize, so you wouldn't think it was like that. But yeah, anyway, it was just a side thing. But
it was very interesting, though. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
So thank you for backing me up, Blazing Ocean.
All right, because we have so many more to get through here. John, let's just end this video right here, and then we'll do another one, guys. Like, we'll do another one, and then we'll
come back.
Please place your comments and stuff, because there's so much we need to talk about before this last episode, and even after. There's probably gonna be a lot of discussions afterwards too, with the craziness going on. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I'm bummed, but I'm also excited because we got a lot of answers last episode. Hoping to get more of this. Not a lot, but we got answers last episode. But I'm hoping to get more in this finale.
All right, guys, let us know down below what you think of these comments we picked out. Do you think they're on the money? Do you think the comments we made on them are way off? And other theories in general, let us know down below. We're getting super excited for this last episode of Season 2 and obviously where the series leads from here. If you guys have been listening to the extra supplemental stuff that HBO's been putting out and you know what their expected turnaround is for Season 3, we'd love to know that. We're hoping it's not another 2 years, but we'd love to know. Thank you very much for watching. Check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video links for all the different type of content we put out. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. Pumpkin Monkey Brains.
Oh, I like that. Pumpkin Monkey Brains.